Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
Time to say good morning to our Greater Wellington Regional Rep for the Kapiti Coast. That's Penny Gaylor, who's at a workshop, stepped out of that just at the moment. Good morning, Penny.
Good morning, everybody. And I'm down here in Wellington. Yes, at a workshop today, Regional Council with my colleagues. We had one on Tuesday as well. And the section I've just stepped out of is really interesting, very loved and hated topic for us in Kapiti, water.
Oh, yes.
We have a person who's actually over from Melbourne, and they're called the Collaborative Research Centre Water Sensitive Cities. But the session's actually about water sensitive urban design, and he was just talking through about the kind of approach that there is in terms of councils and communities and government in the cities in Australia around water. And, the hot topic that has been with us for the last few years in Kapiti is how we manage our demand and what our long-term solutions are. And so I'm encouraged that what they're talking about there has proven to be successful in Australia. Because of the particular climate requirements, the volume of population, that there's actually, the things that we've come to pass here in Kapiti have actually worked over there, and you can see that they're working here now.
So the benefits that he's talking to that will help out the region is what at the moment?
Well, what's interesting is around that demand management, because cities keep growing, just like our Kapiti district has kept growing. Huge increases in the last couple of decades, and that's going to keep tracking, isn't it? As we build our infrastructure around our transport network, whether that's a road or two, or whether it's actually the public transport services. We've also got the technology infrastructure coming in as well. So we've actually, just moving to a slightly quieter place because there's so many people around me talking and just very distracting. So over in the Australian cities where they have, you think of Australia just being a hot place, but actually Brisbane differs from Perth, it differs from Sydney and the Melbourne, and how these cities set up their thinking around what they do. And of course he went through the cycle of, to start with, a lot of cities just think in terms of pure engineering solutions, and that's communities getting things put in place by councils or by government to fix a problem. And then you kind of get to the life cycle of a city and the thinking where you actually go, well, we have to start thinking about driving down some demand, this is not sustainable. Also coming into the thinking from community, as we get a lot of in Kapiti, around, well, our waterways aren't good enough. We've all come here and lived here, we're doing different things on the side of our waterways, at the top of our waterways, and now they're polluted. That's not what we want. So what we're experiencing here, very much the same sort of scenario over in Australia, and different communities will always be at different stages of that. So just interesting, and these opportunities to kind of talk about, then it flows on to how we all work together around these solutions, the leadership roles for the likes of us in a council, or champions of this out in the community, and then actually how you build new models around collaborative governance models. So a lot to take in.
Yes, it is indeed. Well, we're fortunate here, but I was talking to the Mayor of Levin yesterday, or Horowhenua, and they're looking at their water situation, so he'd be interested in something like that, I'm sure.
Yes, well, there was a full-day workshop that these people from Australia did yesterday in Wellington, and there were a lot of people from councils, obviously, particularly in the Wellington region, but they said from wider areas around New Zealand. So I hope that it would be really good if somebody from the Horowhenua had been at that meeting. We're getting a little 1-hour version of it, thankfully, because of contacts, really.
Right.
So that's good, because a lot of us couldn't spare a whole day going to the session.
Now, how many submissions did you get for the long-term plan that you're going to be discussing?
Yeah, so still crunching those numbers, and they closed on Sunday. And so I haven't had the latest update on that. As I think I mentioned to you last week, about 13% of the ones that had been tracked so far were from Kapiti. I had a couple of nights ago, I had a conversation with somebody who rang up just to check in about the submission that they'd done. So that was very heartening that people from Kapiti have done their submission. And so now staff go through the process of kind of putting them into the kind of the groupings of the different topics, and then we will get the bulk of them. So, councillors then get every single submission. None get, sent off into a departure lounge at all. So we get to read those ahead of the hearings, and then we have those hearings that will be coming up later this month. And then we get some more times where we'll be having some sessions to kind of chew that over amongst ourselves and together. We had a session this morning, just us councillors, talking about, we want to make sure there is plenty of time in this process for us once we've got these submissions, for us to actually chew over the feedback and the ideas, because, like we are in Kapiti, everybody around the different areas have got things they do not like. And so we will absolutely have to rethink some of our ideas.
Yeah, sure. Now, our Kapiti Mayor, he said you were calling or going to see him, or he was going to see you, about the ratings in the Kapiti Coast, especially Otaki area. Have you had that meeting yet?
Yeah, so I met with Guru a couple of weeks ago that I'd organised that meeting just to give him a run through about some particular topics and the kind of the overall situation. And we've also going to have another follow-up, and that's next Thursday afternoon.
All right, okay, good.
Yeah.
All right then, Penny, so all's well in Greater Wellington. We're just waiting now to see what you're going to come up with a final rating cost to us this year.
And that's that when we have those hearings, of course, the people who have submitted, they then have the opportunity to come and talk to us.
Yes.
So we've set aside 3 whole days for that. So hopefully people take that opportunity, because it is very powerful for people to come and speak to their submission.
Yes. Now, whereabouts are you meeting these days? You're up in a different location, aren't you?
I know, yeah. We do feel it's a bit of a cul-de-sac. So as you come off the motorway, you come through the tunnel at the end of that, and then you sort of arrive into the top of Vivian Street. Just one of the first to the about 3rd Street on your right is called Walter Street. It's a little no-exit kind of street. And our building is down there now. That's where we're leasing.
Okay.
Because we just, didn't have enough room post-earthquake, because we still can't use the whole of our Shed 39. So we're down here. This is where we will be having the hearings. Absolutely not ideal, but, hard to service the whole of the region. If anybody wants to look at coming in and they're not sure how to get there, get a hold of me, get a hold of our staff. We will help to make sure you can get here.
Is there parking there, obviously, I suppose?
It's not ideal, but actually on the street of Walter Street, I noticed again this morning, coming out the other day, there's a whole lot of metered parks, and they're very rarely full. So I'd say there's a good 10 along there. So you could well expect pull in there and your gold coin to put the meter on, or as we like to, put our card in and
sure.
into the meter.
No, I'm just thinking of those
that is very handy.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of those who are going to be coming forward to speak to their submissions, so they might need a little time there. So
exactly. Because I've noticed Regional Council do it different from KCDC. When we've had hearings at KCDC, you get an exact time, 10:20 or whatever.
Yes.
Here they tend to do it in a block of time.
Right.
Yeah, I noticed that from when I've previously come to give a submission.
Might be something to be looked at, so people from outlying areas, even the Wairarapa, know exactly when they're due to be speaking, and
exactly.
Don't have to worry about their meter. All right.
I know, it's a bit of an ask. Lovely.
Yeah.
Good to talk to you.
Thanks, Penny.
Have a good day.
Yeah, get back to your workshop. There we are, Penny Gaylor, at a workshop at the Greater Wellington Regional Council this morning.
106.3 Beach FM.